Hey guys, Al Perhax here, and welcome to this question and answer session. I've gotten a lot of questions over the last couple days in regard to the Mind Force and Quantum Qigong Master System, which is currently on sale for $297. Now, in a couple days, it's going to be going back up to $497. And I don't like to sound like a pitch man. I don't like to sound like, hey, get it now while you can. But the fact of the matter is, it is a good value. But let me tell you why in the process of answering some questions. So I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this session outside of the fact that I'm going to kind of wrap it around why you might want to start this training right now, or in actuality, why you would not want to start this training, because I certainly don't want anybody working with me that it does not have it in their heart that they're going to actually do the training, because that's really what it comes down to. Number one thing is putting in the flight time. So one of the biggest questions that I got was solid, liquid, gas. What is the deal with that? So let's make this a little bigger. And again, this is so you got solid, right? Liquid, and gas. And again, these whiteboards don't work as well because I'm using my mouse to do it. But let's talk a little bit about this, because this is really a key concept to the process. So when you start out in any Qigong, Qi program, I call it just Qi program, right? This is you. You start out, depending upon your background, you start out with maybe a very limited amount of energy. Now, some people start out with a lot of energy. There's a lot of people that start out at a liquid stage because of the connections that they have inside of their body and their mind and the way they were raised and their expectations and so on and so forth. But most people start out in a situation where they do not have access to their energy. They've never felt energy before. They're probably skeptical. They were raised maybe in a house where they didn't believe in that type of thing. And so you're starting out from this solid perspective. So that's where you are right here. That's where most people started out. I started out there. Now, I moved very quickly to liquid in a couple years because why? And what does that exactly mean? What that means is that now your body is taking characteristics on more of a liquid state, but it's kind of like that concept of when you hear about the different aspects like water, earth, metal, wood. When you hear those kind of things, it's not exactly that. It's just a representation of what that is. But the liquid is really where your body is starting to morph. Your body is starting to become pliable. It's your body, it's your mind, it's your spirit. It's connecting all of those together. And that's why I talk about a triad, right? If you do not pay attention to a triad, to what I call the triad, then your training is not complete. That's just the way it is. Okay, that's the reality. If you don't train the triad, your training is incomplete. And as we look at this person here, you've got the physical body where you're going to be building up your chi, right? Maybe that's where you're starting. And maybe you're looking to get to the point where your chi is literally encompassing an entire room, an entire world, right? I know you think that sounds weird, but that's what it is. And then you've got that mental piece, which is right here. Actually, I don't think this crayon works as good as this one, let's say. So you got your mental piece that connects to the body. As you've heard me say, and you've probably heard many people say, the mind moves the chi. But even though a lot of people say that, they don't really understand what that means. And then you've got your spirit. And your spirit is bigger than all this stuff, because it is the thing that's going to be around whenever you're gone, right? So your spirit really is kind of like that gas state. The question is, can you get your body to that state? Now, let me talk a little bit about that, because it's kind of a weird concept. And it's one of those concepts that in a lot of ways doesn't make sense. And so people look at it and say, gas state, how am I going to get to there? Well, let me tell you about individuals that I may or may not have met that are in that state, and what it means to get your body into that state. So let's take a look at a couple things. How are you going to build up your energy? One of the biggest questions I got was, how do I build up my chi energy to use it for power, for healing, right? And what makes your method better than what I'm currently using or what I'm looking at using, right? So if you're already using a method, you already know if it's good or bad. So if you're using a method that's getting you good results, then you probably should stay with that method, right? I've tried so many different methods before. I continually do. So if somebody contacts me and says, hey, I got this method that I'm using, I think it's really good, you should try it, I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it. Now, what are my expectations for a chi system, for a mental system, for, I call it mind force, but what is my criteria? Because I think this will help you out in understanding what your criteria should be when you're assessing whether you want to train with somebody. And I want you to look at me as kind of like your coach, somebody that can kind of get you from point A to point B. Are you going to have somebody that has been there, done that has done the research, has done the experience? Or are you getting somebody that essentially learned a system haphazardly? They didn't choose a system. It just kind of fell in their lap because it was the closest person to them. And they started doing it, which is what most people do. In fact, that's what most people do in almost every area of their life, is they learn things based on proximity. So if they want to learn hypnosis, they find the person that teaches hypnosis in their local community. If they want to learn healing, they find the person in their local community. I never did that. I looked to find the best person in every area. Martial arts, I traveled to learn martial arts. My original martial arts instructors were on the West Coast. I was on the East Coast. So I was willing to do that. And I learned from several people on the West Coast that I would travel. They would travel here. I would go to seminars. And so, again, I was not limiting myself to New Jersey. I was not limiting myself to the East Coast. I was going to learn based on what I wanted to learn. Now, I'm telling you this because I want you to understand the concept and what I think you should do. Whether you want to train with me or not, it doesn't matter. Right now, it's $300. I mean, that's nothing. You can sign up for $99. If you don't have $100, you should probably get off this video right now and go find a job. Seriously. Because if you don't have $99, then this isn't the thing that you need to be worried about. You need to be concerned about earning money. That's just the way I am. Because $99 is nothing. I would have loved to have had an opportunity when I got started at that price point. But at the time, there wasn't much out there. There was no internet. But I will tell you, I traveled a lot to find people that could train me. And I met a lot of people that had garbage methods. I also met a lot of people that had great methods, which I learned. And I learned a little piece from here, a little piece from there. So let's take a look at the first things that you want to look at as you're developing your journey to get good at this. Is that, number one, you want a system that covers, and I already said this, that covers the triad. That's the key. I don't know why this board doesn't seem to be working properly today. But you want a system that has access to the triad. Again, whether it's my system or not, I interviewed people when I was looking to learn. And I said, how do I get good at this? If I said to somebody, I want to feel your chi, emit your chi. I want to feel how strong it is. If I went and met somebody and they said to me, okay, just think about it. Or if they tried to, or even crazier is, I remember going to New York City, meeting this Japanese guy, and he says, I'm going to hold you onto the floor. And so he says, get on the floor. And then he starts, he's shaking his hands and he's using this crazy breath. And I didn't feel anything. I was just like, wow. And I stood up and he said, your chi must be strong. and all of his students were around, and I don't want to embarrass the guy because, you know, his students are following his whole deal. He's throwing them around. And I said, hey, yeah, that was, I could feel it. I could really feel it. But in my mind, I'm like, I couldn't feel anything. But I don't embarrass people in front of their students. That's not my thing. But I left there thinking to myself, this guy doesn't have the goods. I'm not going to train with him. And I didn't train with him. Why would I? You can't feel it. What good is it? I can externalize my chi. If you were sitting here right now, and you should be able to feel it even here right now, you should be able to feel that externalization of the energy. If you can't, then you're not training with the right guy or girl or a person. Doesn't matter. It's just, that's the way it is. Right? So can you feel the energy? And then the number two thing is the mind force connection. Now, how did I come upon this mind force connection? So I started out in martial arts, and I started to do the Qigong after I was doing the martial arts. And then I was involved in business. I've always been entrepreneurial. So I've always studied business. I've always studied how to, you know, get better, you know, mental acuity, sales training. And of course, who hasn't looked at Tony Robbins? And one of the things with Tony Robbins was the NLP. And so I didn't really study NLP per se. At the time, I was studying Tony Robbins. And, you know, I got a lot from that, reading his books. This is back in the probably early 90s. And then I remember also in the 90s, late 90s, I went to a sales training seminar, and the guy mentioned NLP again, but he didn't mention it from he didn't say Tony Robbins NLP, he just mentioned neuro-linguistic programming. And I was like, okay, I got to look that up. Even though I'd heard Tony Robbins talk about it, I never really focused on it. And I looked it up, and I realized there was a close association to hypnosis, hypnotic influence. And so I started studying that along with the hypnotic influence. And then as I'm getting better with all these things, I'm realizing that they're all connected. All these things are connected, right? The hypnosis, the hypnotic influence is connected to the meditation. Anytime you get into a meditative state, you're technically in a trance. And when you're in a trance, you're technically in a meditated state. So they're both the same. So I said, okay, I'm meditating. I'm getting into a trance when I'm meditating. How can I parlay that and learn that in order to be able to help myself better? So everything that I'm doing it for myself. I don't have any students. I don't have a course out. I don't have anything like that. I'm doing it all for myself. And I'm learning as I go. And I'm finding the very best teachers to teach me. Here's the key. At an accelerated rate. That's what I wanted. I wanted somebody to teach me, how do I get there the fastest? What is the training? And I'll go through it. Same thing with the Qi. Tell me what I need to do. How many hours a day? I'll train. And that's what I did. And that's what you should do as well. I mean, who wants to do the longest thing they can? Now, if you just want to do a little incrementally, I understand that. But the fact that, so when you look at the master system has access to all of those systems. So let me just go there real quick. So this is the page that has the information on the master system, right? So what does the master system have that you're not going to get elsewhere? And of course, I've got all of my concepts here that you can take a look at. You can see the next level of performance, what it means. But let me just scroll down to something. Okay, so you're going to learn quantum Qigong, right? Building up massive amounts of physical Qi. That's a physical exercise. Now, it's I would say a low impact physical exercise. So no matter whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, I've had people that have been in their 80s training with this. It's not physically demanding where you can't do it. You can do a lot of the exercises sitting down. You can do standing meditation if you're capable, but you're developing both yin and yang Qi. You're learning extreme Qi manipulation skills. So that comes into the fact of being able to externalize the energy. Again, if you can't externalize the energy, then chances are you have a method that, quite frankly, sucks. Why would you do it? That was my viewpoint. If I have a teacher that can't show me anything, man, that sucks. A lot of the guys I train with, they could show you stuff. They could hit you with a touch and you would feel it. Chi manipulation, right? That's what it's about. And then healing with energy. It makes sense that if you can take that energy and move it outside of your body, that you can heal with it. Now, some people are healers without having that physical representation of the energy because of the fact that that's the way they've used it over time. I'm gonna come back off of this here real quick. I know I go back and forth between the two screens, but I think it's helpful. So you've got individuals that so I've trained with two different types of individuals. So I'm going to give you an example of the contrasts. So the first one is somebody that can physically move you with chi, that you can physically feel the chi. Now, I trained with another person who wasn't into the physical building up of the chi, but this individual was so good at mental visualization that they literally could do anything with the chi, the energy, the mind force. They were really a mind force specialist, more so than chi power, right? Or chi energy. And they could heal. They could use their mind to stop you, to freeze you, to cause you to feel sick, to dim mock at a distance, right? But it was all mental. It was not a physical representation. And I remember when I met with them and said, "Hey, can I feel your chi?" They were like, "We don't really do that here." Now, normally I would say, like I just said, I don't want to contradict myself, is I said, okay, well, if that's the case, then I want to experience what you're talking about. So they did show me and experienced it, and I left there saying, wow. Now, what that allowed me to be able to do is even put together, this is late 90s again, this allowed me to understand the concept of that merging of the mind force and the physical energy. I thought, what if I could have the mind force and the physical energy? You have both, best of both worlds, right? And so that came up with that quantum qigong, is you're building up this physical energy body. You've also got this very strong mental body. You've got a very strong mental situation. So that's the quantum qigong. And then you got the hypnotic influence, which I mentioned, which is hypnosis, self-hypnosis, hypnotic abundance methods, right? Convincing yourself. That's what it's all about, is influencing or convincing, however you want to say it, that you can or can't do something, you can attract something. Subliminal messaging, persuasion. A lot of these things can be used in the sales realm. A lot of it can be used for self. And as you noticed on some of the videos that I did on hypnotic influence, is that you can take it and you can dig as deep as you want. And that's what somebody asked me. Do I have to do hypnotic influence? No, you don't. Absolutely not. But you're going to do it anyway. As your chi gets stronger, you become more hypnotic. As your energy becomes stronger, you become more hypnotic. It's just the way it is. For example, the tone of the voice. A big portion of subliminal suggestions, a big aspect of influence is the voice. And I want you to study this. I want you to watch preachers on TV. I want you to watch motivational speakers, maybe go to a TED Talk, and notice how they draw you in when they use soft tones. Because you can hypnotize with power by using the soft tones. You can also hypnotize when you use more of a gravel, rough, monotone voice. And then you take those two extremes and you learn how to do both. Now, how do you get good at that? You put it to the test. You go out in public and you hypnotize people and you influence them. and you put subliminal suggestions out there, and you start to modify the way you speak, the way your voice tone is. And I can change my voice tone whenever I'm speaking. I want you to act on my advice. You see? Now, I wrote that video. If you look on the blog, you're going to see I did a video on act on my advice, and I go down and I explain it to you. It's part of the process, right? It'll get you an understanding of what needs to be done there. But that's part of it. Again, these are skills that you can use for really almost any area of your life. And that's the whole significance of having a master system or a system where you can use this. And then the next thing is esoteric meditations, right? Controlled relaxation. Who doesn't want to be more relaxed? Again, there's a yin and a yang side. The yang side is building up the energy. The yin side is taking that energy and making it more relaxed, energetic, but in I guess a best way to describe it is almost like getting more into that liquid state where you're just so relaxed. Okay. Whereas the yang qi energy is more of a vibration. Esoteric meditations, controlled relaxation is more relaxed, like water, like you're just floating. Call it floating or water. And by getting your body to a total state of relaxation. So again, body dead, mind alive, right? Dead body training. The whole idea is to put your body to sleep, but not your mind. When you do that, you can do these out-of-body experiences, lucid dreaming, remote viewing. They're all interrelated. They're all very similar. And they all work. And you can do them. And many of you have already done them because I've spoken to many of you. I've gotten emails from many of you. But if you're looking for a system that's going to be cohesive, that's going to allow you. Now, here's one of the biggest questions I also got was how, if I'm using chi energy, is that going to help me to lucid dream or remote view or astral project? How, what's the connection between these two things? And the best way I could describe it is I'll scroll it out, and hopefully this thing will work a little bit better now. So this is you. And you're building up this chi body, right? But you're not just building it up this way, right? So this is, some call it the aura, which is, accurate, right? You're building up your aura, but you're building up your chi. It's not just the aura, it's the chi that goes along with that aura. And you just keep adding on layers of this body, right? So you're expanding out the chi outwards. When I send my chi out, I oftentimes think of how far I'm sending it. I could be sending it across the world. You could be living in China or Japan, and I can still send the energy out to you. So that's like an external expansion of the chi. But then you're also expanding inside. So you got all these chi channels, chakras, vortexes running in your body. And the way I train it is the entire body. One of the other questions was microcosmic orbit. This is microcosmic orbit, probably running from here to here. Okay. Macro is the entire body, taking the entire body and getting it juiced up, including the arms and the legs. Think about it. If you're going to build up your chi, why would you just build it up in your torso? You want to build it up in your entire body, including your arms and your legs. Your legs are one of your largest parts of your body. And if you don't have a lot of chi in your legs, how are you going to be able to get possibly to that liquid or chi or gas state if your legs are not part of your body? It's kind of like if you were just training your upper body without your legs. You could have a big upper body with shrimpy legs. It's probably not a good way to do it. And so what's happening is when you're building up your chi, you're becoming more sensitive. So even though you're expanding out, you're also expanding in. and you start expanding in, and we're going to put this little dot here, third eye, right? So you start expanding that chi as you're doing your exercises, as you're doing standing meditation, blood washing, as you're doing your lying down meditations, as you're doing energy focus exercises, you're focusing on that third eye, pineal gland, however you want to refer to it as, that's where your focus is. So again, most people that are teaching Qigong, they may reference the third eye, but they don't understand the significance of it or even how you open it up that fast. I have methods to open it up super fast. Not that you want to do that, but you can do that. So you start out physically, and as you're building, now again, it depends on how much physical energy you're getting. Advanced Chi video workout is a phenomenal program to ramp up your energy. That's why it works so well. It's because it's going to build you up super fast with your chi. And then as that chi is in your body, it starts to open up the body, right? So as I stand up, right, you look at my body, right, my chi body, if I'm standing, right, if I'm standing doing a standing meditation, I could stand this way, I could stand this way. I'm focusing that energy through the entire body, again, from my head all the way down to my feet. And as I'm expanding it, I'm expecting all these openings to happen, these chakras, these vortexes. You got chakras, you got vortexes throughout your body. You've got your third eye. And the energy increasing starts to open you up. It starts to expand your energy. Okay? And so you start to get the ability to have an expansion from that standpoint. And that brings us to the next thing, which is psychic power. And psychic power is psychic perception, psychic intuition, precognition. Now, a lot of these things, again, some people that come to train in this method, they already have some glimpses. We all have glimpses, let's face it. You've had psychic glimpses, deja vus. You've had things that you knew that you didn't think you know, especially when you were a child. I mean, for crying out loud, kids are psychic as heck. We've heard about, and some of you have even said you have indigo children and different things like that. Well, it's a matter of just tapping into it. By building up the chi body and allowing the chi to infiltrate your body, you're building up that psychic energy as well. I always tell people, if you do the advanced chi video workout continually, you're going to become more psychic no matter what, whether you want to or not. It's not a matter of, do I want to do this? It's a matter of not if, it's a matter of when. Because the advanced chi video exercise set is designed to open up the mind, body, and spirit in a specific way. That's the best way I can describe it. That's why it works so well. Mind reading, mind-to-mind communication, clairvoyance, supersensitivity, and awareness. Now, you'll notice that even if you have the Mind Force library, all of these concepts are integrated into the Mind Force library. And all of them are integrated. Even if you look at my manipulation course, which is primarily hypnotic influence, I talk about mind-to-mind communication. And I break it down step by step on how it works, why it works, and also why it might not work. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. So when you take that mind-to-mind communication, some people are like, I don't believe that. You don't have to believe it. It's true, whether you believe it or not. It's, like I say, it's like gravity. You may not believe in gravity, but if you go to the top of a building and you jump off, you'll prove it. Whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter. It's going to happen. And the same thing's true with this, is that you might not believe in psychic energy or how you can expand it, but it will happen if you use advanced chi and mind force techniques. Bottom line, it will happen. There's no question about it. I don't have any doubt that that's going to happen. Okay. And then the next thing that we want to look at, and again, the reason I'm kind of breaking it down, and then we'll be done here in just a few minutes, is healing. How can I become a more powerful healer? Can a healer actually feel and see blockages on somebody after a period of time. Of course, everything is training, everything is flight time, everything is focus and intent. For example, if you take everything that I'm teaching you today and take a look at it, and again, whether you get my course or not, I'm going to teach you right now how you can get good at all these areas. The difference will be how quickly you can get there. When you have the Mind Force method of high performance esoteric training, you get there faster because I've integrated all the concepts. I've put it together for you. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out. But healing methods, and I'll be honest, I have not been as focused on healing as other people that I've trained. So I'll be the first to tell you I'm not the expert on it, but I know how to teach it. And if somebody has that acuity that that's what they want to do, I can send them into that space. And again, they're all interconnected. So energetic healing, that is healing with energy. Physical healing, that could be the pressure point healing, that could be bone setting. There's a lot of different aspects to that. Mental healing, right? Some people are not mentally, they're mentally ill. How do you mentally heal somebody? Is that even possible? That's a good question. Spiritual healing, obviously, there's some and when I did I did a class a couple weeks ago on the dark side of chi, Mind Force and chi, and quite a few people that had to go through some spiritual healing in order to come through that program. Now, some of it's spiritual, mental healing in those cases. But it's definitely something that needs to be done. And then, of course, emotional healing. How many people have emotional issues? This program can allow you to even self-heal. I should have put self-healing on this chart because it's probably one of the most important aspects of this type of training is learning how to self-heal. I've mentioned this many times, is that my kids, I've got 4 kids. The oldest is 32. The youngest is 23. And probably throughout their entire life, they've been to the doctor maybe 4 times each, maybe 5. And probably half of those times that they went to the doctor were for physicals, for school sports or something like that years ago. My wife and I both believe that healing is within. Now, again, that's not to say, and my wife, when she got hurt, she hurt her knee a couple years ago. Did I take her to the hospital? Absolutely. Did I take her to a doctor? Absolutely. Right? I had a hernia 15 years ago. I had a hernia when I was a baby as well. Does that mean that I didn't get it fixed at the hospital? No, I did. I went and got my hernia fixed. Okay? So that's not to say that I don't believe in operations, doctors, medicine, that kind of, I certainly do. But I also believe in the power of the mind that you will be as healthy as you are based on your expectations, based on the way you're raised. A prime example is I have also 3 brothers, and I would bet you that their kids have been to the doctors, and they're much younger than my kids, probably 20, 30, 40, 50 times. They go all the time. Any little sniffle, any little something, they're bringing to the doctor. So again, that's an expectation of not self-healing, but that someone else is that healer for you. You've got to look at things and say, I'm the healer. Okay? That's not that you have your head in the sand, and if you need to go in for an op, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, that you can do that you can be that healer. God has given you that ability to be that healer. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise that you can't be, because you have all the power that you want to do. It's just taking certain techniques to understand how to do it. That's just the way it is. I wish it were easier or harder than that, but it's not. And then the next thing on the list is the manifestation. Okay. And manifestation is building up that mind machine, that mind force machine, where you can attract health, wealth, and relationships. So health, like I just mentioned, is that manifestation process. It's that expectation that you believe that you can attract. And there are specific techniques. If you've got the Mind Force library, go into the Magneto manual. I've got tons of techniques in there that you can use immediately. and get amazing results. In fact, if you go to the Mind Force Manifesto, which for right now it's free. Hopefully it's free when it's, it may not be free when you watch this recording, because this recording can be watched 2 years from the time I'm recording it. But there's a lot of great information in that manual as well. So if you get the Mind Force library, you get everything. But manifestation in the Magneto book, there's everything you need there. The problem with having a series of books, a library of books, is that people, they don't take it seriously. They don't take the techniques and work them. That's why you got to put in the flight time. You could take the Mind Force library before you even get involved in the master system. Now, of course, the Mind Force library is in the master system, but if you just did the Mind Force library, you could get amazing results. Bottom line, if you followed it. That's why I put together the distilled learning system. Is the distilled learning system allows you to stay focused on what it is that you want to as an outcome. It's almost overblown training in the sense that I'm giving you more than you need, but I want to meet everyone at their needs. I want to make sure that you can get the concepts to work, because I don't want you to buy the Mind Force library. I don't want you to buy the master system unless you're going to use it, unless you're going to get the results. I don't want your money. I want your results, because when you get results, you're going to write me an email. You're going to call me on the phone. We're going to have a discussion, and you're going to say, this worked powerfully in my life, and I'm going to feel that satisfaction that you got that. And I'm going to feel the satisfaction that maybe you can help others by doing that. And that's all part of that manifestation. Manifestation is not just money. Manifestation is having the ability to manifest into your life anything that you want, anything that you desire, whether it's a relationship, whether it is abundance, whether it's health. It's a total manifestation of whatever you want in your life. It doesn't mean you have to have millions of dollars. It doesn't mean that at all. And for many, many people, they can be totally happy without it. And of course, many, many people can be totally happy with it. But if you understand the concept of manifestation, you can get the things you need when you need them. Just like when I counsel people and I coach people and they tell me they want to earn a certain income. The next question I ask them is why? You want to earn this amount of money. Why? Why do you want to earn that kind of money? Why do you want to manifest that money? What is the reason? If it's just to have money, you're just going to have money laying around? No, it's because you want a specific thing. You want a specific lifestyle. You want a specific intention that's going to cause you to feel good inside, possibly. And if you take a method like this, I'm going to build you from all these different levels, and we're going to add on layer after layer of understanding so that you can become, again, this is the end, a controller. And a controller is somebody that it's not about controlling others. That's the very small portion of it. It's about controlling self. It's about understanding that concept of controlling self. And when you understand that, for you Star Wars fans, this is I collect coffee cups. This is my Boba Fett bounty hunter. I'm not exactly a super Star Wars fan, but I love great coffee cups, and I've got superheroes, and I've got a bunch of cool stuff. So just a little tidbit on me on some of the things that I like to do. But anyway, that kind of gives you an overview. I think I've answered a lot of the questions. I've weaved them into the concepts. Hopefully this helps you. And if you want to participate with the Mind Force Master System, I think now is the best time to do it. This is also in preparation for a new coaching and membership system that'll be coming out very shortly, which if you want to participate, I believe you'll get even more spectacular results. But this is the place to start. You can get it for as little as $297 for the entire system. There's a bunch of great bonuses, or as little as $99. So, I mean, again, I'm not looking for your money. I don't need it. Even if 100 of you sign up right now, it's still not that much money. All right. The fact of the matter is, I make my money from high-end coaching, but I still do this. I wouldn't give it away for free, because I can tell you this, over the years, I've given many courses away for free. And guess what? Those individuals never take it seriously because it's free. They don't see a value on it. I literally should charge $3,000 for the master system. And at least, even if it was only, a handful of people, they would be serious because they've got skin in the game. When I've paid thousands of dollars for something, I'm serious because I've got skin in the game. Same thing is true here. So anyway, hopefully I answered some of your questions and gave you a perspective that should help you. And if you have any additional questions, I'll be happy to do another one of these sessions. I like doing them anyway and helping you out. But just to wrap up very quickly is that you can take all the concepts that I shared in this video, in this training, and you can start immediately, whether you use my stuff or not. You get intent, you get exercises, you get the mind force. You can work in that hypnotic influence realm. You can work in that meditation realm. You can work in that psychic energy, the healing manifestation realm. You've got everything you need. If you don't want to go with the master system, go with the library. Mind Force Library's dirt cheap for what you're getting. You're getting the additional distilled learning system. And even if you're watching this after this promotion is over, whatever price the Mind Force Master System, Mind Force and Quantum Qigong Master System is at, it's still phenomenal value. And so keep that in mind, because you could be watching this video 5, 10 years, 20 years, who knows, after the fact. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope I've gotten your questions answered, and have a fantastic weekend. So long.